everybody, this is Nick, and this is NickStar Tips. This video is going to be on driving a common vehicle, just a regular vehicle in the U.S. This will be, not any special license or anything like that, but if you're, basically driving a car, a truck, a Jeep, a station wagon, any normal vehicle, So I am not talking about, driving like an 18-wheeler or let's see, I don't know, a go-kart, sorry, I'm trying to think of other vehicles, and for some reason I'm coming up blank. But or like a bulldozer or anything, out of the ordinary. What I'm talking about is this tip is specifically for all the most common cars on the road of the different kinds and stuff, that we're driving the same roads, operating on this, with the same laws and rules and things like that. And I want you to know that while I'm making this video, I'm driving very safely. This is a automatic vehicle. I have full access to the steering wheel and my gas, my brake, have my seatbelt on, have my recording device in a stationary position. I can see all that's going on. I don't have any blind spots. So I am fully prepared, to make this video while driving. Perfectly safe. I always keep a comfortable distance behind, for the most part, of people, regardless of if I'm recording or not. Let's get to the first item on my list as far as one of the tips. But the overall tip is about driving. But one of the tips that I'm going to give is about using your blinker. So I just turned on my blinker, okay? And I don't have any drivers behind me, but I'm about to make the turn now. But normally I would put on my blinker a little bit sooner than I did, also because a blinker is used to let the drivers behind you and all around you, it's used to give them a warning of where you're going, not to use it last minute and then nobody know what you're doing until it's basically too late, or to show the police officers that you can use the blinker, so you just won't get in trouble or something. Now as I say this, I want you to keep in mind that I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes while driving. Sometimes I've forgotten to use a blinker. Everybody makes mistakes, but you have to understand that driving comes with natural habits, so a mistake here and there is understandable. But if you're making this kind of mistake on a regular basis, then you got a serious problem that you need to look at. Driving is a responsibility, and it's a heavy one. Because you have to understand that you're not only responsible for yourself and the vehicle in which you're driving and any passengers that you have, but you're also responsible for the other drivers that are around you and their vehicles and their passengers. So if you drive in a dangerous way, people can't tell what you're doing, you can cause a lot of really bad things to happen. Like accidents, and these are where a lot of accidents come from, that people just, they don't drive well, and they ignore traffic laws and things like that. Now I can't say that I haven't gotten in accidents before myself. To my memory, I've only been in one traffic accident where I was at fault, and it was where I thought that I was at a three-way stop, and both vehicles were slowing down at an intersection. I thought they were about to come to a stop. They didn't. I got ran into from the side by a Ford 350 truck, and I was in a Mitsubishi Outlander. Well, anyway, let's just say the truck demolished my car and hit me on the driver's side of the car in which I was driving. But I've been in many accidents in my lifetime where other people were driving, and I know the one I had before that. I can't fully blame the woman for running a red light to hit me, because it was very close. It was like a split second, and I know that people, even me, have come across that instance where it's just a second. Between it being yellow and red, and sometimes you're just so very close you can't tell that if you're going through a yellow or through a red. It can be a rare occurrence, but still I can understand. But that's what happened the time before. Is basically she ran a red light. I saw it, but I can't fully blame her because it happens. So I can't. But it cost me a lot of harm and trouble, and I got 7 stitches because of it. But anyway, I'm just going to summarize on the using your blinker thing. Use your blinker to warn other drivers all around you ahead of time where you're going. Don't just slow down and then last second use your blinker. You're going to cause a problem for people around you, and you're going to make them angry, and they won't know what you're doing. Okay, now the second tip that I have for you is don't follow too close if you can help it. I want to say certain words, and like I said, I haven't been perfect in my driving profession, but just understand that if you're following too close behind someone, you have no stopping distance, especially in if it's wet pavement, or if it's been raining or it's raining, something like that. Leave some space in between you and the next car, especially if it's busy. If there's a lot of cars on the road, if you're following too close to someone, you're basically asking for an accident to happen because you have no stopping distance. And the reverse is true. Basically, if you get behind if someone's behind you and riding your tail, don't be afraid to, decrease your speed. And as I just did, I put on my blinker, letting everybody know ahead of time that I was turning. And, and I'm making my turn. There's plenty of space. I'm perfectly safe. That's an example of using your blinker the right way. Not using it last second to where the drivers, behind me and all around me can't see what I'm doing until it's basically too late. So use your blinkers. It's annoying for, I'm sure, everybody on the road except those people that just don't care. And I don't really like that attitude that they get on the road, they never use a blinker, they think that they're above the law. If you're going to act like that, don't be on the road. Take an Uber or something. You shouldn't be driving ever. If you're not going to use your blinkers, get off the road. You do not belong driving a vehicle of any kind. I don't even care if it's a four-wheeler. Use your blinker. Let people know what you're doing. I don't care if it's one of those, go-kart things. Let people know where you're going. Warn them ahead of time. Don't just be careless. It's a very bad attitude, and it causes a lot of problems, and it can cause accidents. But anyway, I'm going to get back on this. If someone's following too close behind you, there is something that you can do. You can decrease your speed. Because they can follow closer. Okay, they can come right up on your bumper and even tap you on the back, which is illegal. They're not supposed to hit you. And in that case, what you can do is you can pick up the phone, you can dial 911, okay? And you can tell the police that someone is riding your tail, and if that person is aggressive enough in their driving, that they're actually hitting you without cause. And nobody really has any cause to hit anybody, in a car or anything like that, but you get what I'm saying. So just call the police. If someone's doing that, you can call the police and get them to, to come out to where you are and see it for themselves and stop that type of thing from happening. And this is another thing, as far as distance, you see the distance between me and the car in front of me. There's plenty of space for me to stop, okay? And that's how everybody needs to behave while they're driving, is to allow a stopping distance. Be safe drivers, okay? You don't want to get hurt, in an accident, and you don't want to hurt other people, and you don't want to cause them anxiety or to get angry or anything like that. Now, for the other side of things, if someone's falling too close, just remember you can slow down, okay? I'm not necessarily do brake checks, because brake checks don't always work successfully. Sometimes you can do a brake check and that car will just slam into the back of you. So all I'm saying is you can slow down gradually, do it very safely, but that will slow down the car behind you. So just keep in mind safety at all times. That was another point that I was going to make. And I'm trying to remember what it was. Give me 1 second, I'll remember. Well, anyway, let me get on another point. Maybe it'll come back to me. As far as driving, make sure to read your road signs. That is another tip. If you have a yield sign, understand that that's not stop, but you do yield to the other vehicles. Okay. Understand that if it's a yellow, you can go through it. You can go. So that's that's another. If you have a yellow light, you can go through it if you're going through it safely. Okay. You don't necessarily have to. Especially if you have cars behind you and you're going a similar speed, and they're close enough. Go through the yellow, because what you might end up doing, and I've seen people do this, is you might stop when the light just turned yellow. I mean, you like slam on your brakes for no reason. You see yellow and you think red, instead of realizing that it's a caution light, it's not a stop light. Okay, so if you were too close to the light when it turns yellow, don't stop, keep going, because it's safer for you to keep going than it is for you to do an immediate stop and possibly cause an accident behind you, because somebody else is going to have to slam on their brakes because you didn't properly evaluate how to operate during a yellow light, and that's a serious problem. Now, red lights are red lights, obviously, okay? None of us should ever be running red lights. Now, I've encountered situations to where there are very quick yellow lights, and basically, the yellow light came up and it was just all of a sudden, and I accidentally went through a red because I was just way too close to it. And, it's unfortunate and rare, but I can say that it does happen. And it's very rare, obviously. But the best rule of thumb is just be a safe driver and try to anticipate, what you're doing. If you may get a red light, try to keep an appropriate speed, pay attention to the posted speed limit, and the way everybody's driving around you. Be aware of what's going on your sides. Use your mirrors, look in your rear view mirror to make sure that there's enough space between you and the cars behind you and stuff like that. Oh, and now I finally remembered what I was going to say earlier, is if you're the person riding too close behind someone, right, and it's a 2-lane road or highway or whatever, and there's no other cars in that other lane, and you continue to ride behind someone just because you want them to get out of the lane that basically they were in before you were, or even if they're just in the same lane that you are, all you have to do is switch lanes and go around them, okay? Don't, I'm going to say this as politely as I can. Don't be a butthole. Don't just do it out of spite, okay? And I'm serious about that. You want the lane, go go-karting, get in a go-kart and race or something in a facility, that does go-kart racing. Don't get in your car and act like a butthole to everybody because you think it's a racetrack or it's your private or it's your private, cell phone, road. Okay, you're a driver just like everybody else on the road, and you need to pay attention to what you're doing. Okay. Now me, I just put on my blinker a few seconds ago, so I'm warning everybody that I'm about to turn. Okay, nobody's paying attention to it, so I have my turning signal on and nobody's letting me turn. This is another thing. I put on my turn signal, nobody's letting me turn. Okay, they had plenty of space, they could have slowed down. Another thing I got to bring up is be considerate of the other drivers on the road. I put on that turn signal with plenty of warning. They all saw it, they all ignored it. Okay, that is very inconsiderate. And my blinker's on again. It's been on for a few extra seconds, and it was with plenty of time for the vehicles behind me to see that I am turning. Okay, for them to see that turn signal, for them to slow down, to give me space to turn. But they didn't slow down a bit, and that's another problem. Inconsiderate driving. It really causes problems for the other drivers on the road. But this is something I want to drive home, that if you are riding too close to any vehicle ahead of you, and it's more than just one lane, okay, get into that other lane if there are no other cars, and just go around them, or just use that other lane. Okay, you don't have to remain in the same lane just riding their tail. It doesn't matter if they're going 5 miles per hour. You don't have to stay in that lane. There have been times where I've had to slow down and then put on my hazards, on a 2-lane road, simply because somebody would not change lanes in a 2-lane road. They were just that stubborn that all they wanted was just not to switch lanes, because people get so egotistical they feel like they don't have to. Now that's being behind someone. I've done delivery driving off and on for some years, and sometimes when you're delivery driving, you can't change lanes for every vehicle that comes along. So that's another thing I'm going to talk about, and I talked about it earlier, is be considerate when you're driving to other drivers. So sometimes, if I can and I feel it's, appropriate to, I change lanes if someone's behind me, to be considerate. And but as a delivery driver, you're doing a lot of deliveries, and every car that comes behind you, you can't change lanes for every single car, because basically they'll do it in both lanes, the fast lane and the slow lane. And you can't drive that way. You can't constantly be switching lanes, because that's the way that people they just feel like they're king of the road always. Okay, delivery drivers, I endorse this, that basically if someone's wanting you to get out of their lane that you're in front of, and it's a 2-lane road, and there's no other cars, just let them go around you. And what I'm saying is where it's appropriate, switch lanes, but other than that, don't keep switching lanes. Basically, how do I say this? Be considerate of the other drivers, but slow down. Let that driver know, even put on your hazards if you have to. Let that driver know that you're staying in the same lane. Okay, it's very inconsiderate for them to try to push you out of a lane, because for one, you're on the job. You're just doing your job, and they're trying to cause a problem with you. If you use your hazards, that's what the hazards are for. Okay, so basically to warn someone, that you're in that lane for a particular purpose and you need to remain in that, or even pull over, cautioning other people so they know that something's going on. But just use them wisely. Use your hazards wisely, and slow down, and let them go around you if they're just being stubborn. Okay, because you can't do that with every driver. Okay, every driver that comes along, you can't cater to every single driver. That's a serious problem, especially for delivery drivers or people that do Uber or Lyft or whatever. please, everybody, be considerate of delivery drivers. And another thing on that, you should know that the delivery fees, for whatever you order, that a delivery driver brings you, they don't get that money, okay? Tip your driver, okay? They bring it out to you. They make their money mostly off of tips, okay? If you don't tip them, okay, it is an incredible insult. And the average, I would say the average tip was about $5, you know, per delivery. So be considerate, at least give your driver $5. But with the, you know, with the gas prices having gone up, it's very important that that you tip your drivers even more than that. Just consider the gas prices, and tip your drivers more, you know. So $5 was usually normal when gas prices were, say, you know, $2, whatever. And so I would say now, since gas prices have gone up, change it. You know, at least give them $7. So if the normal was $5, and now gas prices are up to about $4 per gallon, give that delivery driver a tip of $7, okay? You know, it's appropriate. You ordered a pizza. If you're going to pay for the pizza, or if you're going to pay for, you know, anything that you're being delivered, okay, and you can actually pay for whatever is being delivered to you, then factor in the amount that it's going to cost for a tip. Don't just